Good evening to you. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you. It's about 8 o'clock on our Friday evening, and we're just starting to kind of get into our weather pattern that we're going to be tracking very closely with high winds as a potential tonight into the day tomorrow. So first half of our weekend, we're a little worried about high winds that could cause some issues, whether they be down trees or a couple power lines. Those are some issues that could pop up. Not a guarantee, but something that we'll be watching very carefully as we get this wind in here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to chat here for the next 10 minutes or so. Right now, we're starting to see this cold front settle south of us. Moved through earlier today with some rain. Some of you even got a little snow. That's kind of what pushed on by a little bit ago. And now we're pretty much going to be dry for the rest of the weekend. We're not worried about rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain, those kind of things. But what we are seeing, wind advisory, high wind warnings, both of those things around the area. So all this in the lighter brown is a wind advisory. It goes all the way through about tomorrow night at this time. What that's meant to mean is that our winds are going to be pretty gusty for a while. We're expecting them to be in the 35 to 50 mile per hour range, especially tomorrow morning. Also, a high wind warning is in effect for the North Carolina mountains, so this does depend on where you are as to what you're going to see. Now, right now, everything in the triad is pretty calm. If we take a look here at Winston-Salem, pretty nice Friday evening for the most part. I know it's been cold for a while, but just speaking from experience, I just came in from outside. It doesn't feel terribly cold, at least compared to where we've been. Right now, it's about 41 degrees, and so that makes a difference here. So we're not terribly cold at the moment. What we'll be watching over the next several hours will be those wind speeds. And right now, the wind is not really elevated all that much. In fact, it's not windy at all. 5 to 10 mile per hour winds in Greensboro and the Triad area, not a problem. Farther out west, though, we are starting to see the winds pick up just a little bit. And this is nothing to be a concern at the moment, but it could be a sign that these winds are starting to arrive a little bit. So I'll give you an example. Take a look over here. Closer to Wilkesboro, Boone, Jefferson, and Hickory. These areas are already starting to see some of those gusts, and this would just be the very beginning of the event. Nothing all that high or all that gusty at the moment. But as we get closer into the nighttime hours, that's when we will start to see those winds pick up in speed a little bit. Another thing they're following up in the North Carolina mountains is a little bit of snow and a little bit of fog too. Check out Beech Mountain. Just hard to even recognize it at the moment. So they've got some fog going on there with warmer air moving in over the snowfall. Then we've got the winds that are going to crank up over the weekend, and we also have some snow in the forecast. In fact, if you look at Boone, it might not look like much at first glance, but always look at the stoplights. You see right here, it does appear to be snowing a little bit in Boone at the moment as we look at a live weather camera. It also looks to be a little on the windy side. Not terribly so, just a little bit. And we'll be keeping an eye on them as we go throughout the nighttime hours and certainly into the day tomorrow, when that snow should continue to kind of whip around, and also those winds should get a little bit higher. Looks like something wrong with our blowing rock camera. We'll move right along. But again, not terribly windy at the moment. One of the things we are expecting over the weekend is that those gusty winds are going to pick up in speed. So main thing to just kind of watch for going into tonight and tomorrow will be for those winds to pick up. And cold air too. When you have cold air already and then you're going to add some wind to it, that's when we have a wind chill concern. So bottom line, those winds gusting around 35 to 50 miles per hour tomorrow night through Saturday. You do want to be prepared just in case you lose power. I don't think it's a high chance of that happening for any of us, but there is that possibility that there will be some scattered power outages. Whenever we have wind gusts in that 50 mile per hour range, it's something to consider. And of course, when it's so windy, you can have some really low wind chill values. This is all happening because of a cold front that I said was sliding through the area, and now it's pushing offshore. As that cold air rushes in overnight tonight, this is going to be something that really kicks up and accelerates our winds. We're also caught in between high pressure over here and low pressure over here, and that's a great place to be if you want high winds when it comes to weather. And it's always interesting to kind of explain why wind happens in the first place, because I think a lot of times, tomorrow's going to be a sunny day. So why would it be windy on a sunny day? Think about that. What's the reason for all of this? Well, take a look here. This is a graphic I made recently. Why does wind happen in the first place? The main answer is that air is always trying to go from high pressure to low pressure. That's what it wants to do. Air is uncomfortable when it's in a high pressure state, so it wants to go to a low pressure state. It's not squeezed as much. So how does that happen? Well, the air just simply goes from one to the other, but the Earth spins, and so air does travel in a curved motion because the Earth is rotating underneath it all the time. And so we see these curling winds, so to speak, and that's kind of the way that this flow works between high and low pressure. What makes the wind strong or weak? Well, the bigger the difference in the pressure zones, the stronger the wind is going to be. And so in this case, we do have a strong area of high pressure and a strong area of low pressure that I can show you on the map. That'll be kind of moving around us over the course of the weekend. The low pressure is offshore, pretty strong, and the high pressure is inland, pretty strong as well. And we're right in between. So it stands to reason, just like I showed you on the graphic there, we are going to see the air rushing between the two, and we're caught right in the middle. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's kind of what we're expecting going into the weekend. Can show you kind of the hour by hour trend on this, and our models are always changing and getting updated with new information all the time. But, we're not really expecting it to be windy for a little while. Probably closer to midnight, we start to see some wind gusts closer to 30 miles per hour. And then overnight especially, here would be 3 a.m., there's 5 a.m. That's when things really get ramped up a little bit. 30, 40, maybe 50 mile per hour gusts. Those are things we'll want to keep an eye on. And then that kind of sticks around. So we have some staying power to that will linger with us through the middle of the day. So that's 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning. Here's closer to 10 o'clock or so. And then here would be lunchtime. You see how those winds just kind of stick around for a while? And if anything, we're seeing them decrease a little bit late tomorrow afternoon. Around here, up in the mountains, this is kind of a thing for a long while. And so they're going to be dealing with those winds a bit longer than we will here at home. Our Sunday is not going to be a windy day, but it will be a cold day. Let's take a look at some of these wind chills. Right here, you see that 7 o'clock on Saturday morning? Bitterly cold, feeling like the single digits. So tomorrow morning, that's what it feels like when you're waking up, mostly because those winds are so high. Through tomorrow, even during the daytime, it'll be feeling like it's in the teens. And then on Sunday, same idea. Still feeling very cold for the morning, but by the afternoon it moderates and the wind does start to go away a little bit. So here's your weekend forecast. Between the 2 days, both of them are very cold. Temperatures will be in the 30s for the highs. Overnight lows will be in the teens and 20s. And yes, it is going to be really windy on your Saturday, as we said. So there you go. We've got some wind on the way. We've got some chills, the cold air. So make sure to bundle up if you have to be out. And then one thing I will mention now that I have you here, let's just keep an eye on Sunday afternoon. That white stuff on the screen, that would be some snow. Just a couple scattered snow showers can't really be ruled out. So let's just keep that in mind. Other than that, be alert for the high winds through tonight. Be alert for the cold air and those low wind chills. Bundle up as best you can and be ready for a bit of a warm-up going into next week. I have us in the 40s, 50s, and 60s Monday through Wednesday. We'll be back at 9 o'clock with another update.